Hello everyone. I'm just an ordinary employee who likes history. Last time, I talked about the Boston Tea Party incident and the British finally lost their temper. The year after the incident, they made various laws with strong sanctions. The following year, the British Parliament made various laws with a strong sanctioning meaning. One of those which I mentioned at the end of the last article is the blockade of Boston Harbor and the revocation of the autonomy of Massachusetts. That kind of thing was included. So, what are the effects of these laws? Well, it not only affects the Massachusetts but the other colonies as well. For example, there was a law called the Lodging House Act. What does this mean? It says that we should always provide a comfortable place for the British Army to live. So, the British military can use them anytime? I don't know if it's all the time or not, but when the British Army comes, we have to give them the houses so that they can live there. Well, that's why they made the law. There are many other laws as well. In the US, the laws made at that time were called the Intolerable Laws. That's a great name, isn't it? It's called Enduring Laws. I was like, like that. Stop it. I can't take it. I can't stand it. That's what the British did. The most cursed mechanism to destroy American freedom. It's a really bad law. That's how bad the British are against the American colonies. So, in response to that, they did something about it. The colonists had a meeting and discussed how to deal with these unbearable laws, and it was called the Continental Congress. There were several Continental Congresses, and the first one was held in 1774. It was the year after the Tea Party incident. Where was this meeting held? Well, it was the geographical center of the 13 colonies of America and was the representative city. It was held in Philadelphia, right? Yes. So, I have to be careful here. At that time, the colonies weren't thinking of becoming independent from England yet. They were trying to find a way to reconcile with Britain because obviously the relationship is not good. They needed to solve the problem and find a way for the colonies and Britain to get along again. Actually, there are 13 colonies. Georgia is not one of them when the first meeting happened. Well, why is that? Georgia was the last colony to be established. It wasn't stable yet. They were still fighting against the Indians and were receiving support from the British government. They didn't participate in those meetings where they could air my grievances to the British government. That's how they felt. The colonies were still there at that time on the First Continental Congress. What were they discussing at that time? And what were the conclusions? There were two main things. One was that they should work together to boycott British products. Let's stop buying British products. If you want to stop the boycott as soon as possible, you should stop those unbearable laws. Another important thing was that they decided to have one more meeting after that. It's a great feeling to get together like this and discuss our future plans. So when shall we have the next meeting? We had already decided on the date by this time. So let's do it in May of the year after the first one. It happened on May of 1775 when they decided to hold it the First Continental Congress. But before that, there was a very big event that happened in April 1775. This is 1 month before the second conference. What happened? In Lexington and Concord, the American military and the British Army started fighting. It was called the Battle of Lexington and Concord. And you know what? They didn't declare war against each other. Between the colonists and the British. It's that war. That war. We haven't talked about it yet. They said they attacked us first. They both said so. And even now, which one of us actually started it? We don't know who actually started it. Well, that being said, you don't just start a war out of nowhere. There was a background, and let me tell you about it. The colonists, in a place called Concord, they're gathering weapons and making some disturbing moves. This information was leaked to the British. There was a man named Thomas Gage who was in America at the time. He was trying to prevent war from breaking out. He said, let's collect these weapons first in Concord. They dispatched the British Army to Concord, right? On their way to Lexington a skirmish broke out. Some British soldiers died. After that, they moved to Concord. I think they collected the weapons from Concord once. And when they were leaving, the colonial militia, they were attacked like guerrillas. There were about 250 of them at that time. British troops were killed. And the soldiers of colonies were just normal people with normal jobs or not professional soldiers. But in times of war, they volunteered to participate. However, they were good with guns because they also did a lot of hunting. They would hide in the woods and attack like guerrillas. It's complicated, isn't it, from the British Army's point of view? From the British Army's point of view, they were annoying. And at that time, in the Battle of Lexington Concord, these guys were the first to take an active role. They're called Minutemen. Why they're called Minutemen? When the battle began, someone said, "Please assemble. I'll be there in a minute." And start the attack. Minutemen. That's how he got his name. What's this? It's cool, isn't it? I mean, it's cool. It's the kind of thing Americans like. He's a farmer by day, but when he's called upon, he'll be there within a minute. During at night, he's the second man. I'm sorry, but I suddenly made a joke. But there was a guy named Minuteman. He'll be active in less than a minute. He would rush to the scene and attack within a minute. And, let me back up a little bit. There are 250 people died in the Battle of Lexington Concord. It's very small. But, after this, a full-scale war started and called the American Revolutionary War. It's between the colonial side and the British side. Thomas Gage, who was a great military man, acted to prevent war. But still the war started like a car accident. It's a very ironic way to start a war. What about the Continental Congress that awaits us a month later? And after that, the British actually had a man killed. How will the British move on after this? I'll tell you about it next time. I'd like to finish by showing you how to memorize the Guru. Since it happened in 1775, this is Nanakantan Concord. If you found this video at all interesting and informative, please like and subscribe to my channel. See you soon.